Gentlemen, excellent to be back with you on MGTOW Money. Today's topic, who else wants to turn $10,000 into $30,000 in 90 days? Before I get to that, I want to thank the ongoing support from the Patreon supporters of this channel, as well as all you guys who are continuing to support this channel. Men, see the video description today of today's video. Become a supporter of this channel. Before I get into today's topic, a quick follow-up. A few videos ago, I did a topic discussing cutting interest rates, lowering interest rates, going to negative interest rates worldwide. Not so coincidentally, the Federal Reserve in the United States just cut interest rates today on Wednesday, July the 31st. For the first time in more than 10 years. Men, some of you might want to go back and listen to that and orient your investments accordingly, because we are inevitably, in my opinion, going to end up in negative interest rates. Also, quickly, a book recommendation. See the video description today. This ties in very clearly with today's topic. Specifically, the book titled The Life Cycle Trade, How to Win at Trading IPOs and Super Growth Stocks. All right. Men, you ever wanted to triple or even quadruple your money quickly and easily? Yeah, I know a few of you guys do want to do that. You want to take $5K and turn it into $15,000 in 90 days or so. And no, I'm not talking about investing in cryptos. Specifically in this case, I'm talking about how you can invest in the stock market. And yes, I'm going to give you some facts how you could have done this. Oh, that's right. Just very recently. Now, before I get into that, a quick message from the sponsor here. Speaking of the stock market, I know many of you already have noticed the stock market just recently hit all-time highs. And you can grab a free share of stock, a free share of Google, Nvidia, Teva Pharmaceuticals like I've got. If you're an American citizen and you're at least 18 years old, by opening an account with Webull, you'll get a free share of stock after you deposit $100 into the account. You can put the money in, you can take it out. This is free. Free. I can't emphasize that enough. There's no tricks here. This is just part of their building their business model by doing this. I've already done this. Numerous other MGTOW have done this. Go to the video description right now. Smash the link right now. Get your Webull account going because you can start making some money. Back on topic. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, one of my passions was making quick and easy money in the stock market. Now, how did I do it? Specifically, I was involved in following and investing internet IPOs, internet initial public offerings. Some of the companies you probably may remember, especially if you've been around for a while, companies like Pets.com, Lycos, AOL.com, Yahoo.com came out, Netscape, etc. I know a lot of you young people probably aren't familiar with this, but you can go Google the term the dot-com boom. Specifically what these companies were doing, they were sort of new, if you will, the new technology companies. And these IPOs, these initial public offerings, were the first day that these companies were selling stock to the general public. In other words, people like you and me could actually buy a portion of the company, albeit a small portion. We're buying a small fraction of the company, but we could actually get a piece of the business. And by the way, if you don't have any familiarity with what a stock is and how the stock market works, etc., go back and listen to some of my prior videos. I did one, for example, on how would I explain the stock and the stock market to my grandmother. I think a lot of you might find it very helpful. All right. Fast forward to today. The IPO market effectively up until the past couple of years really crashed. Of course, the great financial crisis, etc., everything just was really down. However, over the past couple of years, the IPO market for these new emerging companies has really come back strongly. I mentioned, for example, over the past year and a half, the cannabis companies have really come back strongly. And let me be clear here. Let me throw in a disclaimer. A lot of these companies are risky, and probably 80-90% of them are going to go by the wayside. They're going to go bankrupt. They're going to be taken over. They won't do anything. However, again, you can make money in this market, and you can get tremendous gains. And specifically what I'm talking about, many of you may have missed a tremendous opportunity, although I must admit, I missed it too, and I'm about to give you a very specific one. May 2nd, 2019. Yeah, less than 90 days ago, there was a company that did an IPO. The company name is Beyond Meat. Yeah, I think a terrible name. And by the way, look them up. Their symbol, BYND. The stock came out at $25 a share. That was the IPO price. Now, you probably couldn't get the IPO price, but you could have bought the stock when it finished that day at $65.75 a share. Okay, so remember that. $65.75 a share, May the 2nd. Today, it's trading at $196. So in less than 3 months, men, the stock has more than, that's right, tripled. You could have gone from your 5,000 to 15,000 in 90 days by getting into this type of opportunity. Now, most importantly, how do you go about finding out about these opportunities? What can we do about this, etc.? Let me go into some specifics on this. One, this is very important. I've mentioned this before. Men, there is no FOMO. I'm not trying to create FOMO here. There is always another opportunity. I saw this happen with the crypto run-up, for example. So many men, I think, were discouraged or frustrated, etc., were jumping on the bandwagon when Bitcoin was at 20,000. That's not when you want to be buying. You've got to be careful when you're buying here. Listen very carefully. You've got to go slowly here. Remember, when you're buying for a capital gain, in other words, when you're quote-unquote buying low, you're hoping to sell high, you're playing this on a greater fool theory. In other words, you're hoping that somebody is a greater fool than you and they'll give you more money. You're buying at 5 and you're hoping to sell at 10. And remember, that guy who's selling to you at 5, he thinks it's going to 0 or 1. The point is that go slowly. You're not going to miss out on any opportunities. 2, a lot of these IPOs, men, you know what? The financials, they're losing tons of money. Yeah, you heard me. These companies are losing tons of money. They also have all types of weird business models, what I perceived as stupid business ideas. This Beyond Meat. They're selling these vegetarian burgers, etc. They're doing these things that I think that are unusual, or maybe I don't understand, like some of the biotech companies, etc. They might be doing something that I intensely dislike. But you know what? That's not relevant. It's not important, men, when you're investing in an IPO. Put aside all your biases as best you can and try to think about general societal trends. For example, a couple of years ago when Colorado and Washington State in the United States were legalizing marijuana, or at least decriminalizing it, maybe we should have seen this as being an opportunity to get into some of these new cannabis stocks that were being IPO'd. There's been, of course, a trend over the past couple of years to healthier foods within the United States as well as in the Western world. Maybe Beyond Meat is a play on that healthy food trend. Or maybe there's some sort of serious technology trend like in the late 90s and 2000s that you can jump on. Let me give you another trend. Healthier aging. Obviously, again, in particular in the Western world, people want to live longer and they're willing to pay to live longer. There's a lot of biotech companies that are doing a lot of research, and not so coincidentally, they are coming out with IPOs. 3, never ever risk more money in this particular space, in this asset class, than you can afford to lose. Simple terms. Don't put all your money into one basket. Don't put all your money into one particular stock. Do not put your rent money, do not put your mortgage money, do not put your car money, car payment money, etc. Do not put more money into this that you would not put into a casino or something like that. Years ago, again, I saw someone who regularly would go into these types of things and these risky types of investments, as I perceive them, with the idea that, quote unquote, I'm going to make a living doing this, I'm going to day trade this, etc. This is a terrible idea. You are almost certain to lose. The money you want to be putting into this asset class is relatively small percentage amounts of your overall portfolio. If you only have $1,000 to invest, that's okay. Dude, I was there. But only put a couple $100 into this. And you're saying, well, what's a couple $100? Well, you know what? You're going to get your feet wet and you're going to get started. And if you get started with things like Webull that caters to small investors and actually has a terrific interface for small new investors, I would say this is the best way to do it. Gentlemen, let me quickly summarize here. You can make a tremendous amount of money in other asset classes besides just cryptos today. One of those being, of course, this initial public offering, getting in with these new, relatively small companies. You're not going to miss. If you miss one, guess what? Just wait a little bit, just like waiting for a bus. Another one inevitably will come along. There is no FOMO. Ignore the financials. Ignore as best you can what the company does, etc. Try to think, in my opinion, on a higher level about the global societal trends. The market will tell you whether you're right or wrong. Lastly, most importantly, again, I can't emphasize this enough. Be prepared. You might be wrong. Don't risk any more money in this area than you cannot afford to lose. Gentlemen, as always, hit the like button if you found this useful. John Galt, out.